Torch-bearers of the temple, light-bearers of the world, I, Saint Germain, address you on Independence Day to light a fire of freedom in your world, not only upon the altar of your heart, but anchored to the core of the earth herself, so that as this fire courses through the ley lines and the anticorona of light, is carried through every vestige of town, hamlet, and home by the Helicon, the Golden River, there will be a great resurgence of the understanding of what it means to be God-free, to have the opportunity to make the elections that you desire of your own heart flame, and to live by those determinations, to stand in the fullness of all of the momentum of your victories, and have them unassailed as you proclaim your divine destiny. This I, Saint Germain, call you to this very day, for it is not just for your own life stream and the freedom of expression of the mighty I Am presence that you are to bring forth. It is for the freedom of the expression of the mighty I Am presence of all. For you have been shown the Great Commission, fostered in my heart, brought into the physical, so that you might know the Cosmic Council's desire for this activity, the Temple of the Presence. Why is it important? Why is it not just another activity of those gathered together for one goal in mind? It is because, blessed hearts, the golden age is at stake. The freedom of expression in the land is being eroded away because there is not the pressure of the light going forth sufficient to stay the spewing out of the astral plane and the unreality that is being seeped into the consciousness of those unaware. Most of mankind has laid down their guard consciousness. It has been too easy for them for a very long time. There has not been war looming upon their shores, so they have taken for granted what it takes to protect the freedom in the land. There are those select few who are like the prophet crying in the wilderness, awakening those who will hear, will listen. But even though there are those speaking out, pay attention, read between the lines, study the history. Determine for yourself, is this the life you desire to leave to future generations? What is required, first and foremost, is enough of the pressure of light moving in the mental body, the emotional body, and the physical body, that you anchor as the torchbearers of the temple with my assistance. For you have vowed your heart flame to my commitment to bring forth a golden age. You have counted yourself among those that I, Saint Germain, can count on. And when that light goes forth, it does affect the way the masses think, the emotional turmoil that goes on, the actions, even in the physical. And time again, there are those that awaken to the reality that something is afoot in the land and they don't quite know why it came about. But you know, and I know, for we have covenanted together that this light will have its day. The mighty I Am presence will prevail, for it always does when there are those heart flames that ratify and commit to holy purpose and the will of God. Then you will see springing up here and there those who may not know or recognize how they came to be in positions to speak out for and on behalf of the freedom of the country or the governing bodies. But nonetheless, they suddenly find themselves thrust upon the stage, and they need your support. They need your firm resolve. They need you to come together in bodies such as this and larger, giving the call, making a difference. And you will make a difference as you prepare even greater opportunity for those to join your ranks. For think for a moment, you have outgrown your surroundings. Is it not time to prepare for the next wave of those light bearers that hunger and thirst to be in the trenches with you, to take up the sword of light as the truth that stands behind all that is right for the sons and daughters of God, regardless of their country, their race, or their religious persuasion? You, blessed hearts, can welcome a difference for the earth, but it requires a determination of your heart flame. It is not enough merely to sit back on your haunches and wait for another to begin the process. You must become self-starters, right in your own cities, right in your own countries, writing letters to the editors, to your representatives in office, determining to be proactive, to have your voice heard. When you come before your altar, we hear you. The holy angels hear you. Even the mighty I Am presence of those in positions of authority will hear you. But will their outer mind recognize it? Unless there is a talisman, a node of the spark of your consciousness that is visibly tangible to them. Throughout the ages, you have accomplished much, and for that we are most grateful, for we understand the labor, the trials, the tribulations, and the striving to even accomplish all that has been done. But can you honestly say you have finished your work? Are you ready to fold up your tents and go home? Wait for another embodiment. I did not count any of you as a quitter. No, I know the fiber of your being. I know who you are. I have seen the record of what you have accomplished in previous lifetimes. I have stood beside you and watched that resolve of God identity take hold and change your stature in a moment's notice. And it is that we, the ascended masters, count on in this hour. Perhaps you have looked about and you have decided, well, it is not too difficult. It has not touched me yet. But just you wait. How long can you ignore a looming problem? Will you wait until it has become an abscess in your world, requiring great surgery? Or will you make a difference even now? You have heard many discussions throughout this conclave on the state of the affairs. Do you suppose that the founding fathers, at my insistence, would have signed the Declaration of Independence, would have proclaimed the United States a free and sovereign nation, if they had not had the pressure of freedom's flame upon the altar of their heart? You can do your own research. You can see the illumined statements of John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, and the list goes on. And throughout the ages, they have spoken of igniting fires in the heart. They have spoken of a godly right. They have spoken of the unity required. They have understood what it takes to have freedom of expression. And try though they did to write a document that would stand the test of time, there are still those that would tear it apart even now, and at every turn want to get their chisel and hammer out and strip away the very carefully crafted language that is for everyone's protection, and make of it a document that has holes allowing for the wealth of the light of the sons and daughters of God, the well-being to draw off into wasteland. Perhaps you have not thought it so serious, but I tell you it is, and I would not lead you astray. Know, blessed hearts, that if you do not stand up for your freedom, who do you think will? If you who know of the mighty I Am presence, who are imbued with the flame of Christ's discrimination upon the altar of your heart, you who have the desire for the divine will of God in your life, do not stand for freedom for everyone, not just a select few, but a freedom that is a fire that burns so brightly that no unreality can stand in its midst, save it become consumed and changed, and the burdens of life, misused, misconducted, lifted off their delicate frame, so that they can begin for the very first time, perhaps, in a long list of embodiments, feel the freedom to be God. I tell you, it is not a time for you to ignore your daily calls at the altar. For every day the holy angels and the ascended ones wait for you to approach your altar, so that as you give your calls, they may take up your offering, multiply it, magnify it, and send it out where it will bring about the greatest salvation and God good. This is a formula how you will expand Coeur de Lion. Perhaps some of you have not been able to figure out how you will get from one week to the next, for you have not practiced sufficiently certain lessons of attainment that allow for the abundance of your mighty I Am presence to flow more generously through your life stream. Or perhaps you have set in motion barriers, opposition, unbeknownst to your outer consciousness, for there has not been enough of the violet flame transmute your returning karma. And you have allowed these layers to build one upon the other until you have become so ensconced in the debt of life that it is hard for you to see beyond your immediacy of sustenance. Do you suppose for one moment that that is intended by your mighty I Am presence? That every ascended and cosmic being that speaks to you, conveys to you their body substance and body consciousness by way of teaching, instruction, light, energy, momentum, that they feel limited, or that they expect that you would be limited at any turn? O blessed ones, pouring forth the light of your own heart flame, without the constraints and bondage of your karma tying you into knots, not allowing you the freedom, will keep you on the wheel of karma and reincarnation far longer than is necessary for your attainment. Because you can break those bonds. You can shatter those matrix. You can clip the ties that keep you bound by the violet flame, by the ruby ray, by the emerald matrix, by purity's ray, by the sword Excalibur. If you have not applied every vestige availed to you through these teachings, by way of spiritual understanding of the do's and don'ts of life, so that you have a clear conscience, you are no longer pouring in debris into your life, that never seems to be cleared, and you have enough of the flame of your own threefold flame of the heart, expanding out, unfurling the banners of your true identity, taking the rightful dominion in your life. When this occurs, you are no longer concerned about your returning karma, for it is no longer affecting your life. You are transmuting it before you have to live it to balance it. The debt is gone each day. Then you can be about the precision of co-creating with your mighty I Am presence. You can have the listening grace to know the difference between right and wrong, and what is right to do at this very moment and what must wait for a cycle. We have laid out for you a plan that is most ambitious to your way of thinking, perhaps, but it is of nothingness, but the little finger of one ascended master to move ever so effortlessly to bring about these same momentums are availed to you. You have a mighty I Am presence that's filled with light and momentum and attainment, just waiting, brimming over with the substance of God to flow into your life. But if there is not the willingness for you to change, a week, a month, a year from now, you will still be in the same position, entertaining the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, involved in the same habits, and experiencing the same lack. The abundance of God flows freely to all who put God first in their life. That means going to the altar and making that holy communion, invoking that light and transmuting what stands between you and your mighty I Am presence, so that as you are moving about your day, it is as though it were a charmed life. For at every turn, doors will open. Others will shut that you are not to walk through. Connections will be made. And you will know when you need to write a letter, when you need to make a phone call, when you need to be active. To make a start, bringing about the expansion of Coeur de Lion is really a very small endeavor in the minds of some, but it is overwhelming to others, for they have not yet internalized how the light of their own mighty I Am presence works. I have promised that I would not keep you long, and I would be straight to the point. Know well, blessed hearts, that I stand with you at every turn. When it comes to your freedom and your victory on the path, this I commit to every son and daughter of God across the world. Sadly, there are not many who know my flame or my name, or can hear my address, to have the clarity shot into their mind, ratified by their heart flame, and expanded by their own momentum of God good. But there is a work afoot within the realms of the ascended masters, working with the I am presence of these life streams that would hear, would see, would become. And as that presence applies a more than ordinary pressure that will ignite the fires of their heart, so that the outer vehicles will begin to commune daily with the presence, your calls will not be in vain, for they will find you. They will see, feel, and yes, touch this very heart flame that burns brightly here at Coeur de Lion. They will search you out. Obviously, if you present yourself in a fashion where they can more easily find you, it will more quickly facilitate that action. Will you have a place for them to come, to welcome them in, to see to their comfort as they are introduced to the white fire core of their life stream? Perhaps you have forgotten your first entree into the fires of an ascended master's address. How from time to time you would shuffle about in your seat, squirming, wondering whether or not you should fall asleep or run, for the pressure was so great. But are you not glad you stayed the course? I did not hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. For over time, you have developed your own momentum and comfort in the fire. Your heart flame has expanded when we have come to greet our address and our momentum, to accelerate you and assist you in elevating your vibration into the heart of your own God presence. And you have glided out of our sanctuaries to your respective abode for the night. Some wide awake for hours, for the charge of light, unaccustomed to their physical body, would not allow them to stop spinning, while others would be drawn into the arms of their mighty I Am presence, taken into the retreat of that ascended master that had spoken, and continued to be taught and nurtured in the flame of that instruction. Over time, you have begun to internalize that teaching for yourself. We see it at every turn in your life. You are not the same as when you first walked into the temple. You have become more of your Christhood. Why stop where you are? Why become so comfortable in the vibration of your skin at present that you are not willing to call forth more of the fire of your mighty I Am presence, to make more room in the chalice of your being for the expansion of the fire sufficient to carry you into the ascension at the close of this lifetime? What is it that needles at your consciousness or your emotional body that does not allow you to move beyond your present state? It is worth your consideration. I can tell you immediately, it is not another person. It is not a country. It is not an organization. It lies within you. And this is why we have given you the tools of the violet flame and the invocations to the mighty I am and the ascended and cosmic beings. This is why we have conveyed to you those areas of life to shun and those that you should embrace and make your own. And that brings me to my final statement. The temple of the presence is yours. First and foremost, your vehicles are a temple for your presence. The collective body of the torchbearers of the temple enjoy the canopy of the greater temple of the presence, of the unification of all of the mighty I am presence, of the entire spirit of the brotherhood of light. For they are the foundation. They are the rock upon which you, as the temple of the presence, stands. They are the source for all that must come forth through you to expand it, multiply the loaves and fishes, feed the hungry with the bread of life ministries. Let the Helicon broadcasting go far and wide. Let the publications be written and disseminated throughout the earth. And yes, translated into other lands and other languages. And raise up a roof that is more substantial than a temporary tent that could be blown away by a strong gale. But let that roof be strong as the oak tree, for you can take shelter and be nourished by that oak. You can receive the honey of the golden elixir from the great central sun. And you can make room for others to come and partake at the Master's table. This is your legacy. This is why you have come into embodiment, whether you have recognized it or not. For you vowed not just to me, not just to El Moria or the Mahachohan, but to the lords of karma. Let me go into embodiment once more. Put me in a position to be there, and I will make a difference. Give me the early training in my life, so that when it counts, I will be among the numbered. Let me go, and let me shout to the Lord my calls. And as those calls roll, let my voice be counted in all of the varied ways in which the Master's work can be completed. On this Independence Day, I throw down the gauntlet that you might take it up and accomplish the victory, that you might raise Coeur de Lion. As Almoria has said, let my temple be raised. I am very proud to say it is our temple that you will raise. O blessed hearts, even the ascended masters take pride and swell with joy within their heart at every accomplishment along the way that you have made already. You have already built bricks without straw. Is it impossible to consider that you could now raise the walls and the ceiling? I think not. The victory is already assured. Just as the golden age will come forth, but not without the sons and daughters of God performing their part and anchoring the light of God. I take my leave, but know well I go not far, for I am always hovering, even in the shadow of Almoria's walk. From time to time, he turns and says, "Were you going to let me know you were there? You had to know I would know." And I smile, that quixotic smile that lets him know that we are on the same page, that we are here for you and for every son and daughter of God from this point forward that must win their victory. Let the victory come into your hands. It is okay if you take the credit. I would be most joyful to extend it to you. Be sealed in the flame of freedom as you stand for the United States of America and sing to her blessing, "God bless America."